Willkommen zum FXpo-Teil unseres Yoda-Interviews.
Hier geht's um ein interaktives Special Effects Filmmuseum in Nürnberg, geplant von Maley.
What can the visitor expect from the museum?
Okay. FXpo is, I hesitate to call it a museum because it's going to be a museum that is entirely unlike any other museum that you would normally go to. The tradition of a museum is that you have a relic that people go in and they look and they read a little piece of paper and it tells them about what they look at and they move on to the next relic. But FXpo is meant to be a much more dramatic experience. It's meant to be as entertaining as it is informative. I discovered over time that the history of these movies, not just Star Wars, but the other movies that myself and my friends made, are being written by journalists and people who come and interview us. They ask us a series of questions, and that becomes the record, which fits 30 years later in an archive, and that's what they write the books from, etc. But if they don't ask the right questions, they don't really get the right answers. And so I found there were many things that I had to say to explain to people about the story of what was the inside story of how this was made. So the idea of FXpo is to go to my friends, my colleagues who are movie makers, people who made Star Wars, made Alien, made Men in Black, made more recent movies like The Lone Ranger, to ask them about their experiences, to get the relics, but also to put them as a hologram for as long as the FXpo exists, telling their inside story. So many of the movie makers that were my mentors are already past, and their life experiences are lost. All that remains is the answers to a few questions. And before my other friends decide to move on to wherever, I want to be able to capture those experiences so that they and their experiences live on for generations to come.
And it was your idea, or whose
Yes.
idea was it? And it was just like, so we have to show the material we've got?
Yeah, no. Once again, it was an evolution. I have a very small museum in the Caribbean. It's very, very small because space is expensive, and to just keep something going is difficult. It's a non-profit foundation, and I'm trying to encourage young people like you to follow your dreams and be all you want to be, instead of settling for less just because other people around you do that. In that museum, I tell the inside story using DVDs. I had another project that I was working on where we started to work with pseudo-holograms. And the idea of combining those two made me think how much better that could be done and how much more effective and memorable it would be if we had big space, dramatic lighting, holograms, and maybe headsets, so that people could listen in English or in German or in French or whatever language they choose.
Ihr habt jetzt viel aus dem mobilen Studio über das FXpo erfahren. Was haltet ihr denn davon? Würdet ihr ins Museum gehen? Schreibt es doch einfach mal unten rein, wir interessieren uns für eure Meinung. Wenn ihr den letzten Teil sehen wollt, dann klickt doch hier. Und für den nächsten Teil hier oben.